Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to episode 5 of Civilization Beyond Earth. I'm still having a little bit of trouble with getting the trade route to establish between this station. Everything I know of this game, and even what the game is telling me itself, says I should be able to establish a trade route here, but for some reason the game is having absolutely none of it. I'm not sure whether that is a day one bug or whether it is something that I am missing. We have had a siege worm pop up over here just east of the city, and we've actually had a quest to go and kill it, but I'm certainly not going to do that right away. We may end up having to get ourselves the what is it called, the ultrasonic fence, just to try and keep the worms at bay. Maybe we'll have to get that in before we get our colonist in, but we'll see how things go. Let's go on to the next turn. Hopefully that worm isn't going to surface and do any damage to our worker. That could be really annoying. We are going to edge the Marines forward slowly. We'll try and find where these aliens are. I don't want to engage them, but it may end up happening. Let's just skip another couple of turns on this trade vessel until we've managed to clear up all the miasma around. In fact, we've cleared up quite a lot of it, so it is doing very well. We've actually now discovered another station, and this one would give us 2 energy and 2 science. That's assuming we could trade with it, which we don't seem to be able to do. Crashed satellite discovered. You have discovered a crashed satellite artifact, and that's quite useful. That's actually crashed right within our territory, but it does need an explorer unit to build an expedition on it, and we did lose our explorer, so now we've got a few things we need to do. We need to get ourselves another explorer, and we also need to get ourselves a colonist, and we need to get the ultrasonic fence, and there's probably a lot of other stuff that I need to get as well. Quest log has been updated, which is to build an expedition at the signal source. Our scientists have detected a weak radio signal nearby. Its signature is definitely human. We should investigate the signal source. There is no telling what we might find, and that, yeah, that is it. So it is a random spawn, that one is. Okay, you guys are just going to go on to alert for the time being. Trade vessel, can you trade yet? Still not. There's still one patch of miasma in the way. I'm still not certain why it can't trade down there. Maybe we need to connect it up with roads? I wouldn't have thought so, but maybe I'm missing something there. Let's just have a quick look in the city, actually, and have a look at the buildings that we have. Trade depot. Allows 2 trade routes to be established from this city. Well, yeah, we certainly should be able to establish the trade route from what I can tell, unless I'm really, really missing something. So, yeah, you're going to be skipping another turn. You're costing me money and you're not doing anything for me, which is very, very annoying right now. So we've got a lot of things just happened here. The Vital Frontier. Is this the one where we have a quest decision? Yes, it is. Is that going to pop up for us? So a scientist working at our vivarium has made a profound discovery. The xenocyte cultures she has developed have unique reactions to tissues from Earth organisms, and she claims they could be used to make Earth-alien hybrid organisms. Her colleagues condemn her work as dangerous and unethical, meddling in alien biology before we fully understand the consequences. They are threatening to shut the project down. So we can either continue the research, which would give us +1 science from vivariums, or we could stop the project, which would give us +1 food. I'm going to go for the +1 science. I always like to be ahead on the research curve, especially against the AI. So that is another quest complete. And I figure if we're going for harmony, then any quest that gives us some sort of research to do with mixing ourselves with the aliens is probably going to be quite good for us. So let's go ahead and go into our next virtue. So we could go for that creative class and get a little bit of extra culture. We do have some more happiness now, which would certainly help. The other option is getting -10% culture needed for new virtues. Now, if we pick that up, that is going to lead into network data links, which is a science reduction from having extra cities, and also additional health for every 6 population in a city. Whereas going for the creative class will lead to earning extra energy equal to 30% of the culture we generate, and then down into MemWeb. I don't think it really matters which direction we go in. We could, of course, always spend a virtue or 2 in one of the other trees. Nothing says we have to pile them all into a single tree. And I think getting Well, getting labour logistics could be good. Getting 10% production towards buildings would be useful, although right now I'm not actually building buildings. We do seem to be working on units right now, but It's probably going to be better for us in the long run. Not sure that we need the extra food. So let's go in for labour logistics. Now, doing that, of course, is going to give us an extra point here. Of course, if I had spent one extra point in knowledge, we would have got plus 10% culture in every city anyway. So maybe next time we will put one into creative class. But the next time we put one in here, we will also get a free virtue anyway. So we're going to get an extra virtue in here. So that wasn't a terrible decision. It probably wasn't optimal, but it wasn't terrible. So we have now got our ranger. I think what we're going to do now is get ourselves an explorer, because they only take 3 turns. And we are going to take our ranger. Now, can our ranger get an upgrade? Yes, I'm guessing it probably can't. No, we actually need level 2 in our tenant, in our, well, not a tenant, in our affinity. And we can upgrade the ranger to a gunner. So what we're going to do for now is take him and... Is that miasma in that tile? Yeah, there is miasma in that tile. So we're going to go down this way, and he'll probably still take some damage. We'll just cut him through on the next turn. Trade vessel, please, can I do anything with you? Yep, you're in that city. Very, very strange. Okay, maybe this is one for the Civilopedia. Let's have a look up here and see what we can find. So, trade. Quests. Trade. Let's trade quests. Right, why isn't it giving us the information there? What is... it's a trade vessel, so... Let's have a look and see if we can search for vessel. Trade vessel. That's where I've gone wrong. The trade vessel is a naval trade unit. Of course, that's why that particular one can't actually connect to this place, because this place isn't at sea. So, how do we build a land unit then? Because I didn't see that in the list of options. Production. Trade vessel. Trade convoy. That's what I needed. I needed a trade convoy. So, let's go ahead. Should have spotted that one, really. Let's go ahead and delete that trade vessel. And we probably don't have enough to purchase a trade convoy. How much does that cost us? 270. We're not all that far off right now, but at least that explains why that wasn't working. I feel a bit of an idiot for that one, but at least now I know the answer to that. And this is a little bit more complicated than caravans and cargo ships. It wasn't quite as obvious. So let's go on to the next turn. And exactly nothing happened on that turn. You guys are going to take a little bit of a hit from that miasma, but that's not the end of the world. Actually discovered another station. That one's actually quite close to us. Again, unfortunately, it's not coastal. I think I'd like to try and trade with this one if we can, when we get the ability to do so. Let's get you guys out of the miasma so I can heal you up and get on to the next turn. So you guys are definitely going to heal up. So choose production. I think what we're going to do now, we've got our explorer. We're going to go ahead and get that trade convoy. The worker, you now have a couple of options, and we're getting some suggestions of more farms, which I don't disagree with.
Your explorer has noticed something strange nearby. It could be a ruin.
Yeah, that's just telling me that my explorer is close by to something, which is fine, because you are actually going to go over there and start an expedition. What I would like to do is have a quick look at the city, because I think we got an extra population, and indeed we did. You are working that tile there. 2 food and 1 energy. Well, I guess that is better than nothing at all. They seem to be all decent tiles that you're working. Yep, they seem to be the best tiles that we can have at this point, so let's just leave things as they are there. Go on to the next turn. You guys are now healed up. Now what we need to start doing now is working our way over towards the aliens. I don't want to have to attack the aliens, but I really want to try and get that resource pod, because it might have something really nice in it. There again, it might just be junk, but you never really know. So let's continue to move you guys forwards. Lots of aliens, but we'll just stay on defensive. You are just going to fortify up in case you get attacked. On to the next turn. Right, you can build a farm. We'll get some extra food there. Right, not attacked by the aliens, but there's an awful lot of them around, and they're making me a little bit nervous here. What sort of chance would we stand against them if we fired? we'd hardly do any damage to them at all. The Marines wouldn't fare much better either. We could start shooting at them and trying to make a bit of a gap. I'm not convinced that it's going to work. So I'm going to move these guys over here and hope the aliens leave us alone. You guys can also fortify up. In before that trade convoy completes, just as the station decides to disappear. On to the next turn. Oh, we have a siege worm, and he is close by. A little bit worried about my worker there. Maybe we really should get that ultrasonic fence up before anything else. Unit needs orders, though. You still have an alien unit very close to you. You could actually get a decent victory there if you were to attack it. I'm not convinced it's a good idea, but we certainly need to thin some of these aliens out. So let us go and do an attack, because we actually haven't attacked anything yet in this entire game, and we're on turn 59. So let's go in with the ranged attack. It works much the same way as it did in Civilization 5. It actually tells us down here in the bottom left-hand corner the stat differences between our units and their units, and also what the estimated damage is. Now, their unit is actually relatively strong. It has 8 melee combat, but we have 8 range strength. But of course, being a ranged attack, we don't actually take any damage back. So let's go ahead and do a ranged attack. And I do have the combat animations on, because why not? I don't really want to move those guys into the miasma. We could just go ahead and do straight up melee attack. So let's actually do that, because these things are weakest when they're not in miasma, and then we can go and heal up a little bit. We certainly need to take on some of the aliens just to get ourselves a little bit of XP, although we don't want to annoy the aliens too much, especially with that siege worm being right down here, because that is one giant nasty worm and we want to go and deal with that. On to the next turn. Expedition is being completed. Oh, I'd have loved to have read that, but obviously whatever was going on in the background was still going on. We're now being attacked by multiple units, which is a real pain. Marines took a lot of damage there, but so did the aliens. We do have some more aliens coming in from afar.
Our capital has grown into a bustling city. It may be time to build a colonist to found an outpost, which will eventually grow into a new city.
Okay, so our capital has grown much bigger. It is now what is classed as a bustling city. Veterancy gained. We actually have a promotion for this unit. So we could give it a permanent 10% melee strength and or range strength increase in combat, or we could go and give it an instant heal. Now I think we can wipe that alien out there anyway, so I'm not going to go for the instant heal, and I'm going to go for the discipline. We should be able to get a decisive victory over here, so let's go ahead and do that. And as usual, the game lied to us, and we didn't get a decisive victory. So let's go ahead and move into this hex, and we'll go and can't actually do a ranged attack. Is that a hill? That is actually a hill. It didn't look like a hill. So that's a little bit of a shame. Let's move over here then. We'll have to take the shot next turn. What do we have? Looks like we have a few things to do. I didn't actually see what the Explorer picked up. I was trying to read it, but then I clicked off it so I could see what was going on over there in the corner of the map. That siege worm seems to have gone away though, which is quite nice. So let's have a look. So we've built an expedition at the signal source. We've located the signal's origin. A probe belonging to the ARC crashed in a swamp of xenomass. The ARC never reached our new planet, and their status remains a mystery. Recovering the probe may provide answers to their ultimate fate. However, doing so will likely contaminate the xenomass, making the rare material unfit for use. Leaving the probe undisturbed will protect the potentially valuable resource. So we do have a quest decision. So we can either gain +1 production for our trade depots, or we can gain +1 energy for our trade depots. But it does, of course... Nope, that's actually a different quest completely. With the trade depot built, we're now able to amass adequate surplus of resources. The question is, what do we do with our abundance of goods? I would like the extra production, so that's fantastic. So we have another quest. Explorer. Discovered a crash site artifact. Ah, do I actually now need another explorer in order to dig that up? That would be quite a pain. Your expedition team salvaged the wreckage of a crashed satellite of some kind. It was relatively intact after falling out of orbit, resulting in many useful scrap materials that gave your city of Megane a boost of 80 production. Well, that is quite nice. So we've got a quest decision, but it's not actually giving me the quest there to do, which is a little bit of a pain. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our next production. I certainly think we're going to get that ultrasonic fence now. I know we desperately need the colonist, but ultrasonic fence with some of those creatures getting nearer is going to be much more important right now. There we go. There's the quest decision. So, we can either not risk the contamination and leave the probe behind, which will result in us getting 1 point in harmony, or we can recover the probe, but the xenomass doesn't matter, which will give us either a point in purity or supremacy. I'm going to go for leaving the probe behind. And that should give us a point in purity. Or is there an extra thing to do? Remove the wreckage from the xenomass lake. How do we do that? The xenomass is far too valuable to lose. Were it to be contaminated, it might upset the environment in ways we cannot imagine. We must organise an expedition to save it. So we do actually need to go and get another expedition. It's a little bit strange because then you end up with a lot of these explorers and you think, well, what do I do with the explorer now? Because he's used all of his expedition modules, so I might as well just sell him. But he can actually remove the wreckage. He does have that option there. That's not one of his expedition modules required to do that. So let's just go ahead and click that button and remove the wreckage.
This morning I saw flocks in flight, herds moving about the plain, and listened to the sound of water mixing with the morning chorus. And I wept at the beauty of it all.
So we've completed the cultural burden. Our expedition has managed to save the xenomass, though at the cost of the probe. Unexpectedly, the xenomass seems to have absorbed certain microbes from the probe and can now mimic the effect of its fuel. This newfound trait will have a great effect on our research, and we get plus 13 affinity towards harmony.
This morning I saw flocks.
Yep, she's repeating herself there. Level 2 has been reached. Obviously, we can see there are still a few bugs in the way that this game works. So we do have some xenomass now as well. But obviously we haven't been able to hook that up to everything yet. So we can now upgrade our rangers. In fact, we've hardly used them now, and we can upgrade them already into a gunner. And they can either have the plus 5 hit points healed when not embarked, or they can have plus 30% when defending against range. I think we're actually going to give them the defend against ranged and confirm that. That'll be quite nice for them. So that's a couple of quests completed there. We've discovered a source of xenomass. Crash site should have been dealt with now. I'm not sure why they're still getting the expedition there. Maybe we will still need to go and build another explorer. I'm going to delete this explorer just so we can save it. It's not telling me that there's anything there, so maybe that has actually gone away and it'll just resolve itself on the next turn. We finally have a trade convoy. That station is still there, and lo and behold, we can actually set up a trade route. So, what do we do here? Do we go for the plus 2 production and plus 2 energy, or do we go for the 4 culture? I think we're going to go for the 4 culture. This station's been here the longest. We can still establish another trade route, so there's no reason not to do that. This will make Lalabella become tier 2, and we will actually get 6 culture per turn, which is quite nice because we're only getting 9 culture per turn at the moment, and it will take quite a while before we can get our next virtue. So let's go ahead into the next turn. Still being attacked by that alien, but it just went and ran face first into us and took a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, our ranged unit does as well because it's standing in the miasma. You are going to move forward, and we have discovered an alien nest. Well, that certainly explains why they were getting a little bit agitated with me having units nearby. They have some wolf beetles on the alien nest. We could go and fire at them with our ranged unit. We probably should. Although it would be nice if my marines could heal up a little bit first. The problem is with that, I don't want to put them at the front because they will most likely die quite easily. So let's get our marines to heal up a bit more if they can. So we've discovered an alien nest. Alien life forms will spawn from its location while it exists. Let's go and try and wipe that nest out if it is at all possible. We are healing a little bit there. At least our marines do heal a little bit quicker. Those aliens have moved out of the nest. We should still be able to shoot at them from where they are. Done a little bit more damage to them there. I'm going to move my marines up a little bit into this tile. This tile doesn't have miasma. It is the other side of a hill, but they can start to rest a bit there. So, organic growth. We have another quest. These quests do come in rather quickly. The stewards at our Cyto nursery are reporting a monumental discovery. Through the study and hybridization of the indigenous fauna, we've managed to create a bioorganic mesh which mimics their cellular division. Integrating the mesh into our production would speed things along tremendously. It unfortunately takes a rather long time to create, so there's only so much to go around. We'll have to decide how to best distribute it. So again, it's just one of those things, it's a pick one or pick the other. So we can either have plus 5% production for military units from the Cyto nurseries, or we can have plus 1 flat production on everything. Not sure how many military units I'm going to be building, so having the plus 1 flat production I think is going to be the better option for myself right now. So let's go ahead and take that and go on to the next turn. Yep, those wolf beetles have moved back into the alien nest. Hardly surprising, but they are in miasma, so they are actually healing up. This should wipe them out completely. Nope, still one left. We do still have that siege worm close by, which I'm not particularly thrilled about. We do need to go over here and build a generator, but I'm a little bit worried about building... I'm a little bit worried about putting my worker over here when there's a siege worm right next to it. That's a little bit dangerous. We are only 1 turn away from the ultrasonic fence, but the ultrasonic fence only has a reach of 2 tiles, and it won't actually reach to this tile here. So I think we're just going to move our worker back for now and just get him to skip a turn to make sure he is safe. Let's go ahead on to the next turn. Siege worm is actually moving away from us, which is nice. Let's hope it continues with that. Of course, it could be getting a little bit upset at the fact we are slowly wiping out the alien nest. We can attack that wolf beetle, so let's go ahead and finish it off. We did get a little bit more healing on our marines, so let's move them into the nest. It will take them a couple of turns, unfortunately, because they do have to move over a hill, and there is some wolf beetles right next to them, so we may have to back up. It's going to be very difficult to clear this nest out, actually. Safe walls safe behind walls. We have another quest decision. Now that we've completed our ultrasonic fence, we found a new application for the technology. At the moment, the fence is static with a reach that goes beyond what we originally predicted. However, if we reverse the polarity, it would decrease the ultrasonic circumference, allowing the fence to become mobile, like a personal shield. Do we stick to the original design or embrace the unexpected and create something new? So if we keep the original design, we get plus 1 repel range for the ultrasonic fence. If we pick reverse the polarity, our trade convoys will not be attacked by alien units. Now, as nice as it sounds to keep the trade convoys safe, I'd rather keep my city safe. It's a lot easier to rebuild trade convoys than it is to build cities and to repair tile improvements that have been trashed. So let's keep the original design. So that gives us plus 1 range from ultrasonic fences. That should actually now give the ultrasonic fence a range of 3. Let's just go and see if that is true. Ultrasonic fence, yeah, prevents alien units from approaching within 2 tiles of the city, but we do know that it has a plus 1 range. It's strange that it doesn't show on the city building list, but that should be enough to keep that siege worm out of this tile. So I feel a little bit safer now in telling my worker to go back down over here. So now we've completed the ultrasonic fence, we could go in and get ourselves another trade convoy. That's not a bad idea. There is another station that we can trade with, so let's think about going ahead and doing that. Being attacked by the aliens, which is something that I totally expected to happen. I'm a little bit worried about these marines now. I think they're about to get wiped out, and if they don't, they're going to be very close to it. I've actually just taken a lot of damage from the miasma. It has gained a veterancy, though. This time around, it's definitely going to get the... I don't know, we can save it if we bring it a bit further away. Let's give it the discipline again and just move it out of the aliens' warpath. And then let us use our range units. Our range units actually also get an upgrade as well. So let's give them the extra strength. And you guys can start firing at this raptor bug, which looks quite nasty. I'm guessing it can do quite a lot of damage to me, and I didn't do an awful lot of damage to it. Let's go ahead and build this generator and just hope that our worker is safe. And that's pretty much all I can do on this turn, so I'm going to call that the end of the video. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you are still enjoying Civilization Beyond Earth, and I'll see you on the next video. So until then, goodbye for now.